Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 2 of the TEW 2020 Territories save here on the channel. As we're here for our second episode, it is kind of weird taking so long as far as, a month at a time, but it's definitely for the best as far as for my sanity. But, for this second episode, so we're in a unique spot with this second episode because really the first episode, the intro, it wasn't full on, like, as far as obviously what the normal kind of routine of this would be. So it's a unique kind of perspective because usually it would be kind of each month, but you see here that we're at the end of January for this part as far as for episode 2. The reason why is because I think it's a good little part of going right before a lot of the end of the month kind of big shows that are happening, but also to update on what's happening in the past. It's been a lot of changes have happened just within these last rather, for, basically 4 weeks. It's been pretty hectic to say the least. One thing that we did not talk about, I think we actually did kind of mention it, but we didn't show it, is each month there will be a ranking system used within the newsletter. So basically, in real life, most wrestling magazines at the time, it was usually like the second or third page. It would have this kind of monthly rankings to see what's going on. Some kind of had this same type of formula. Basically, they would show it off the WWF rankings, so they do a top 10 plus the champion. NWA, a top 10 plus the champion. AWA as well, top 10 plus the champion. And then they would do like tag teams, women wrestling. They would do minis. As far as this, we just did junior because Danny Hodge is kind of used really, really a lot in this save just already, just from what I've seen. So that just wanted to talk about this real quick because a lot of it's a nice little prelude to what is happening in the month. For this, though, because we didn't show it in the first episode, it's a nice kind of recap of what's happened already. I can tell you this for sure. Dory Funk Jr. has already had his title match with Rufus R. Jones. In real life, they had it at the Parade of Champions. The Parade of Champions was not set to happen. We had added, and I did not realize that Dory Funk Jr. was not going to be able to be at the show, because, it's just kind of not fully thinking when I did that, as far as was not fully locked in, unfortunately, but we did it eventually. He won that matchup. All the NWA title matches at the time, 2 out of 3 falls. Basically, I believe, if I remember correctly, he did beat Rufus 2 straight falls. I could be wrong. As far as in real life, I believe it was a time limit draw, which that happened a lot with the 2 out of 3 falls matches for the NWA title, and even sometimes like Bruno would have a 2 out of 3 falls matchup for his title in the WWF, as for the WWWF. But for Dory, I believe there were times where it would be a 60-minute time limit, but he would have 1 fall. So it would make the time limit, but there would still be a fall in the match. So that was kind of unique in a sense of, or maybe even to be tied and it end up going 60 and they wouldn't do like an overtime or anything like that. So that's just kind of what's going on with that. The Wahoo match, I'm hoping it will be, the plan was to have it at the end of the month of January show for Western States sports. However, Dory has had a unique, as far as booking. He was signed on a couple of handshake deals elsewhere, plus being used by kind of places all over the world. I had the date set to where he was available. However, EMLL loaned him for a show. So that sucked. To kind of counteract what's going on, as for Dory Funk Jr., I know his contract, he's working, of course, in Western States. I believe he's got either St. Louis Or actually, let's just go ahead and take a look real quick because it's just easier. Oh, I'm on the WWF. All right, so Dory Funk Jr. There we go. So yeah, he's at Championship Wrestling for Florida, St. Louis, Georgia Championship Wrestling, Maple Leaf Wrestling, and I don't even know what the MA is. Is that fucking Mid America? Yes, it is. So for Nick Goulas at Mid America, a lot of contracts, as you could see. He's worked pretty much everywhere, which is fine. However, we need him to actually work in like Western states, so we can have like title matches, kind of, and have them help elevate them in the long run. And plus, a thing that I need to do. I didn't really do this a whole lot in the first month here in January because I'm just trying to figure out how the rosters are looking. But a big thing that I'm going to do is, now that I kind of have a feeling out on what promotions need what and what programs I want to do, going to see a lot of talent trades. Because, as far as, well, it's a bad idea to look at it from the WWWF, but when we go through all the companies, if I get to an NWA one, what we'll do is kind of showcase that basically I can trade anybody for anybody within my 8 promotions that we have. And of course, again, to remind everybody, the WWWF, the AWA, Stampede, JWA, as far as the we'll just say San Francisco there, as far as for Roy Shire, Jim Crockett, and of course Western States Sports, and then the Sheiks, Big Time Wrestling in Detroit. I already know what I definitely want to do, and that's either Big Time Wrestling, Western States, or Stampede. They're going to be kind of phased out first. They'll be replaced with, I know for sure, Central States and Championship Wrestling from Florida. I'm not sure what the third company will be that we'll kind of replace them with. We'll change it up a little bit every now and again. Oh, Championship Wrestling from Florida. I don't know if I mentioned that. I think I did. I think I said Championship Wrestling from Florida. Yeah, because that would have been Championship Wrestling from Florida, Central States, and then, so I'm just forgetting the third one that we want. Big Time Wrestling, once it becomes world class. But yeah, that's just as far as like an over, kind of wanted to talk about Dory Funk Jr. real quick. So, the Wahoo match. We might have to do that at Jim Crockett, or we might do it somewhere else even. We have the ability to kind of work with kind of whatever we want. Wahoo at the time, his kind of main promotion was actually Fritz's, Big Time Wrestling, but that kind of got changed around a little bit with this because I wanted to bring him in for Western States just so him and Dory can work. Yeah, because obviously Wahoo, being basically, I believe he's from Oklahoma, very much a hometown guy, in the Mid-South area, so, and obviously Dory, growing up in Texas, makes sense, being from Amarillo, so that would just be an easy matchup. The Dick the Bruiser match is going to be interesting to see. Obviously, Jack Briscoe down the line, Gene Knitsky again, kind of down the line. Him and Baba, that's probably going to happen in Japan. Johnny Valentine kind of works at a couple of different places. He works for the AWA, and he works for Stampede. So we can do that in Canada or in America. Bearcat Brown, as far as his 8th, Mil Mascaras 9th, and then Pat O'Connor at 10, which is obviously Mexico and Pat O'Connor. Actually, we signed Mil Mascaras to a WWWF contract coming up, so that's going to be a nice place to potentially, even though it would take him out of the NWA title scene with that, it would, though. Also, I just now realized, again, also Johnny Valentine, obviously that can't happen in the AWA, because they're not part of the NWA. That would probably be taking place at Stampede. But basically, because I didn't know exactly how everybody was going to play out with this first ranking system, I basically just took everybody's popularity and kind of the popular stars, put them atop accordingly. I want to keep that idea for the rankings, because I think that does make a lot of sense. It's not... Sure, it'd probably make more sense down the line to kind of have the more talented workers, potentially, but I think for now, I think a good idea is to have kind of the top stars be at the top of the rankings. It just makes a lot more sense from that perspective, because I think that's kind of more on brand of what was happening at the time. But yeah, just wanted to talk about the NWA title scene, since we talked about Dory. The WWWF, a lot of things are happening with this. Obviously, Ivan, we know he wins it and beats Bruno for the belt, but he to actually, I want to say it wasn't the first studio taping of the save, but I believe it was the second one, had the title match with Bruno. It's a DQ finish in that one, so Bruno retained. Him and Kowalski, they will have a match probably next month. As far as for the title, him and Ivan, they're going to do a rematch at the end of the month show that's happening. So that's happening. As far as we'll just go ahead and switch back to the WWF as far as the schedule. Yeah, it's happening tomorrow. So I believe we already have that set. Oh, we don't have it set in the pre-booking page. That's all right though. As far as while we're here on the WWWF, we might as well talk about what's going on with them as a whole instead of the rankings as well. So the title picture has changed a little bit as far as some of the titles that we saw. Firstly, the Batman character, X-Nade, already got written off very, very quickly. So what happened was, I believe it was the first studio taping, now I'm thinking about it, it was Ivan Koloff versus Batman, beats him afterwards, is, ripping at the mask, bloody mess, nowhere to be seen again, as far as for the Batman character. And then the unmasking, as far as an unmasked Tony Marino now, is, full on what's going on with the WWWF. Basically, what we did is we had them become the champions, both at the studio wrestling, with Bruno saying, he hasn't seen him, as far as the last time so just kind of vacated the belts. And once, as far as became the new champs, obviously, as far as for Victor Rivera and Tony Marino. So that's what's happening there. They've had one defense, I believe that was still, that was Ivan and I want to say it's fucking what's again? I was thinking it's Crusher Karl Kovacs, I believe. Yes, I believe that's it. Thought it was. Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay, just wanted to double check that. Just wanted to make sure, because obviously, again, we talked about it in the first episode with it being a bit of an era that is not so much, as far as not, I don't think a lot of people are as up to date as obviously like a modern day saver or anything like that. So we try to help educate along the way. But yeah, that's the title picture scene for the International Tag Team titles. U.S. title, as far as Bobo's still champion, he had a successful defense, I believe, at the studio taping as well. Oh no, it was at a house show. It was him and Ernie Ladd. That's kind of the big U.S. title picture for the time being. Just feel like that's a natural feud. Him and Ernie are working pretty hard. Ernie's a great promo. Bobo's great. It's a fun program to have. As far as that, they had a 59 in their title match. It was obviously a DQ finish, but definitely want to see that again. As far as obviously Bobo's already been the champ for almost a year. It'll be a year and a couple of weeks, so that's going to be nice to see for him. Obviously, Sheik and Bobo have traded the belt back and forth as of late, and it was crazy. Bobo was champ from 63 to 69, so a long time. That's kind of the one thing that I'm already kind of like nervous about, is just the way kind of my brain is kind of thinking, as far as there's a lot of times, even by the end of the month, I was like, God, I already know, Bruno, obviously, I don't want to take the belt off of him anytime soon. He had the one title match with Ivan, which we talked about. It was actually a 70 with the DQ finish, which that was actually really nice to see. So we'll see how him and Ivan do again at the end of the month. So that's going to be as far as for the world title picture. The junior heavyweight title. So Johnny DeFazio, Jumpin' Johnny, boy, he, first of all, so big, muscular light heavyweight, and he's supposed to be a junior heavyweight champion. Obviously, that's crazy. He was literally too big for the belt. We had to change this here, because he was just so big. With him, as far as, we kind of have the junior rankings here. We have him at 4th. If I had to do this again, he probably wouldn't even make the top 10. That's how bad he is. Pretty bad. Pretty bad. His matches have been pretty shit. As far as, the Pete Sanchez match was a 31. Him and Danucci's fine. Actually, they're not fine. They actually have bad chemistry, from what I remember. So, couldn't do that. Him and Tony Marino, they had a match with Dick Brower and Johnny Rods, which I mean, it's kind of crazy. 45 in that matchup, pretty bad, pretty bad. He's not incredibly over, is kind of the thing, but he's like not a great promo. He was mainly an enhancement guy, mainly just as far as kind of that that kind of group of guys as far as DeFazio, Dominic DeNucci, Rivera, Tony Marino, Bruno, obviously, kind of that kind of core group of guys. He was a part of it, but definitely towards the bottom end of the totem pole. The thing is, obviously, the junior title, it wasn't obviously a huge deal in the WWWF, but obviously with us at the helm, it's, hopefully we're going to have a pretty good run with it, and hopefully we can get something going. But right now, DeFazio is not it. Not it at all. The women's title matchup, Fabulous Moolah just had a title matchup at this past studio taping. Her and Tony Rhodes, it was a 48, not great. She is pretty bad. Pretty bad. 46. Most of her performances have been pretty bad. Her one match so far is a 49. It's not great. So, as far as kind of the idea for this first month was trying to get everybody acclimated and trying to showcase everybody in, like, each week kind of had a different title match for the studio taping. So, like, the International Tag Team, they, as far as, obviously, they had the studio tag team, title matchup. We had that main event one night. Obviously, the Bruno match, main evented one night. And then, the women's title match just main evented this past taping. And, I'm not sure, maybe we'll have the U.S. title match main event this next taping coming up. We'll probably change that, make it a little less of that, and definitely focus more on Bruno, because, I mean, we're in his world. We got to play to our strengths. Definitely with the WWWF as well. We got to just jump on the back of Bruno Sammartino and ride him to the fucking sunset and to the top, potentially for the WWWF. So that's kind of where we're at. As for $1.5 million, basically we're making money with almost every promotion we have. As far as with the WWWF, obviously being a medium-sized company, we could kind of sign people to exclusive deals, but I haven't done that yet. There has been a couple of companies that have actually done that. One of them that's been pissing me off is Championship Wrestling from Florida. They signed, as far as Billy Red Lyons from the AWA. That sucked. He is pretty good for the AWA. The biggest one is probably Butcher Vachon. So, one half of the Vachons. That sucked. And Dr. X, a.k.a. Destroyer. That one hurt because it was tough. Because at that one, I knew I want to have the Destroyer work Japan. Work Japan. I definitely want that. Sometime, as far as in the future. As far as Dr. X. Love him to death. Still 38, like he's still, like, in his prime years. I don't know if they let him... Yeah, they already have him being super over in Japan. Like, he's great. He's great. He's exactly what we need. Unfortunately, though, he got signed to an exclusive deal. And, I mean, I honestly could have matched it. Because the AWA, we actually have a lot of money with the AWA. Yeah, about $2.5 million, a little bit more. Probably could have done that. Actually, we'll go ahead and advance it since there's nothing going on with the WWWF. So, with the AWA, it's for $2.7 million. We're looking good. A lot of people on the roster. That's kind of a thing that we definitely need to downsize with the AWA. 50 people on our roster is kind of crazy. We just signed Nick Bockwinkel, which is a huge get, because obviously we know what Nick Bockwinkel becomes. But as far as incredible talent, great promo, great in-ring, as far as becomes basically the flagship guy of the AWA after Vern basically retires from in-ring competition, because Vern is already 43, so kind of thinking ahead with that, obviously bringing him in as soon as we can. But his one match already with the AWA was really, really good. He had a 61. So that's really, really impressive. He's already working Georgia Championship Wrestling. He's working Atlanta as well. So, working the Southeast. And I think he's also working Hawaii. Is that right? Forget what HW. Oh, Hollywood. That's right, Hollywood Wrestling. So he's working the Southwest, the uh, Midwest with us, with the AWA, Pacific Northwest. So even the fucking Northwest. He's working all over the place. Very, very busy is Nick Bockwinkel as AWA, Georgia Championship Wrestling, Hollywood Wrestling, and the Pacific Northwest. So he's all over the place. Definitely want to sign him to the AWA once he kind of gets rocking and rolling a little bit longer. He'll definitely be someone we exclusively have for the AWA. As far as somebody else, I would obviously it's tough because the Bruiser and the Crusher very much synonymous with the AWA, but of course the Bruiser's got the WWA, so can't really do that. Maybe the Andersons, but even then, the Andersons kind of became more of a Jim Crockett thing, so that, potentially... It's crazy that Bobo is working both AWA and the WWWF at the time, but he's working all over the place. And he's working for... And now we signed him for, Big Time Wrestling to obviously work with the Sheik, so he's going all over the place. And he's working for the WWA, as far as you can see, beat Dick the Bruiser for the World Heavyweight title, so... Buddy is very, very busy, as you can tell. A lot of matches already. Almost 10 matches in a month. Pretty hectic. But yeah, so it sucks that as far as Dr. X leaving the AWA, Butcher Vachon leaving the AWA, that kind of leaves a bit of a weird spot for us because with him, the way Florida works, their shows, it's very tough to get him on the show because obviously you could see most of the house shows just non-existent pretty much. As far as with All-Star Wrestling, it's every Wednesday. So that's also when Championship Wrestling from Florida runs. So we're kind of fucked from that sense. We might... I don't know what we'll change the house show to. Maybe Monday. Maybe even Thursday. So we can at least get them to where they don't have to worry about getting double booked or anything like that. Yeah, actually, we'll do that now. Let's just go ahead. Because, we got the TV show on Wednesday. We'll do the house show Thursday. I kind of like that loop a little bit. Kind of makes sense. Oh, yeah. There we go. So, there we go. And then the end of the month show is Friday. Nobody's booked for that. Hopefully that stays. So, we can do the title match to get the belts off the Vachons. Which is, that's tough. Because the Vachons were a hell of a team. And I was very much looking forward to booking them. Unfortunately, that's not the case. As far as the tag teams go, we're talking about them. They're already the third top tag team, just off of popularity and whatnot. As far as they're behind the Kangaroos. And then George Becker and Johnny Weaver. That's actually went really, really well for them to be the number one team. Because they've been tremendous for Jim Crockett. We'll get to them when we get to Jim Crockett. But they've been tremendous. The Canadian Wrecking Crew has been pretty good in Stampede. Of course, the B.I. Cannon, we'll talk about them when we get to JWA. The Torres brothers, I don't think we booked them, so there's that. The Von Erichs. Funny enough, Fritz and Waldo Von Erich, I don't even think they're in the same company as far as at any point, because Waldo's obviously in the WWWF. I don't think he's working JWA. That might be the only place, and even then, I don't think it mattered. And of course, Bruno and Batman now is not even an official unit anymore, so... Already, the next month, here in the February rankings, are going to look very, very different for the tag team scene. I wanted to showcase that again before we trying to think what else we can go through. Oh, yeah, there's a lot of title changes, actually, that have happened in the AWA. First one being Luke Graham, new British Empire Heavyweight Champion, thanks to, obviously, Billy Red Lyons leaving for Championship Wrestling for Florida. Had to make the change, and felt like him and Luke Graham could have a good match, and they did. It was a 58. Which is good for kind of our standard. The Midwest Heavyweight Champion, Moose Chulak. As far as Tarzan Tyler, pretty bad. Moose is not great either, but he's just a little bit more over. The match itself, it's a 52, so you could tell how kind of bad that was. And he's already working kind of elsewhere. Yeah, he got outperformed too, 49-50 in the title matches. So not a great showing, but we're going to hopefully have some good stuff for Moose on the horizon. Also, new Midwest Tag Team Champions. So Reggie Parks and Stan Poliski. For some reason, Reggie Parks, I don't know what his contract is, but it's very weird. As far as, let's just take a look at what he actually is. Yeah, for some reason, he, would not show up on the roster. It's kind of weird, but he's unimportant, so that's one thing. He's not really over enough to, I think, being a champion. I don't think it made sense. And also, him and Stan, not really the best of teams. As you can see, Reggie's a face, Stan's a heel, so it just didn't make sense. Lars Anderson and Larry Hennig, though, hell of a team, really good team, and their match itself to win the Midwest Tag Team titles, that just happened on a house show. 68 for Larry Hennig and 52 for Lars Anderson, so they're already performing pretty high. They're actually doing really well. Wow, wrestling at the Chase, Dory Funk Jr. and Larry Hennig. Yeah, that's a hell of a match. Dory killing it at the Chase. No surprise there in St. Louis. Oh yeah, that's the other promotion I definitely want to book. Is St. Louis. But yeah, as far as the AWA Midwest titles changed hands. So the women's title still vacated. We don't have a lot of women. I want to say, how many women do we have? Oh no, we don't have anyone. I thought we had one of the Vashon girls. We must not. Damn. Because I thought we had Vivian. I think Vivian might have got signed by Championship Wrestling from Florida. Let's take a look. Let's see. Oh no. Yeah, let's go ahead. She's just on a handshake deal. Yeah, that's a good idea to do this. There we go. So we need to focus on their women's division. As far as the women's scene goes right now, as far as we only have really the WWWF is really kind of what we see the most out of. Out of the kind of 8 promotions we book. Because we haven't, obviously, you've seen, we don't have any women here for the AWA. And you just kind of look, obviously Japan doesn't, Stampede doesn't have it, Jim Crockett even doesn't have it, in Western States in Big Time Wrestling. In Detroit don't have it either, and San Francisco doesn't book women either. So, just kind of out of the 2, they're the only 2 that we actually, use women on. So, a lot of them, though, are from really EMLL. EMLL is pretty stacked with talent. As you could see, original Blue Demon, El Santo, Colosso Calesti, and Rayo de Holistico, some of the best luchadors in the world as far as from the junior side of things as well. I'm trying to think their women's. They have obviously so many goddamn belts. Yeah, their women's. Irma Gonzalez is quite talented. She's working for All Japan Women's and the WWA. How about that? She's kind of all over the place. She's probably a smart girl to sign for the AWA. We'll go ahead and do that. $700 a show is a hell of a deal. But yeah, we'll go ahead and snag that. Because you can see technically great. And that makes sense for the AWA, to have girls that are technically sound. So that's just kind of what the kind of more the branding for the AWA, what the women's division is going to look like from that perspective. Of course, Vern, heavyweight champ still, hasn't had the defense. I'm waiting to figure out which first defense I want him to have. Right now, kind of the big program that we've done is a little bit of him and Bill Watts, obviously, and him and Harley Race. So I'm kind of torn between the 2. Mainly because I just know Harley's so good, and I kind of want to get out of the AWA as soon as possible. Mainly because just Harley did not really... He did a little bit of a stint in the AWA, but obviously he was kind of more once Sam Muchnick, and brought him in to St. Louis. He was basically the king of St. Louis, so kind of thinking of that from that perspective. It sucks that him and Dr. X no longer can be a team, because that was a fun team to have, potentially, because that was just 2 of my favorite guys. But yeah, with Vern, we've booked him, obviously, really strong, as far as for the most part. Even this tag match loss with Harley and Mad Dog, Vashon, as far as Carpenter took this loss, and same thing, Bobo took this loss from Baron Von Raschke, if I remember correctly. So that's just kind of, that's actually a really good, as far as All-Star Wrestling, television main event. I imagine they were 75. Pretty good for the first month, I would say, from ratings. But yeah, Vern, he's been as advertised. I figured he was going to be pretty good, and he has been. The AWA, man, it's stacked. It's stacked with talent. which is no surprise. A lot of talented fuckers at this time. Even, Blackjack Lansing, and even Blackjack Mulligan, but it's Bob Windham. We'll definitely want to have them be the Blackjacks at some point. Right now, they are not. Bobby Heenan, it's so funny that he's still like an occasional wrestler. Really, what I've been doing with him is for the house shows, I have him open up the show by like cutting on the crowd and having like a babyface come in and try to beat him up, and then Blackjack lands and tries to make the save, or even makes the save, cuts him off, and then have the match to start off the house show. That's just kind of a little loop we're doing on the house show loop for the AWA. That's just kind of a fun way to start off the show. So that's been fun. As far as I'm trying to think who else to talk about for the AWA before we move on. It's again, we probably need to kind of cut down some of the fat that we have. We have just so much talent. It's gonna change up a little bit, but like, we also have minis as well. You see Cowboy Lang, which we'll probably get rid of. Honestly, we just have so much a giant roster. It's just kind of not really necessary, unfortunately. But yeah, that's just kind of where we're at with that. We'll probably give Cowboy Lang as far as we need him. He'll probably do the work for the WWWF or kind of somewhere else along the line. We'll see. We'll see as far as with him. But yeah, we can just go ahead and advance. Oh no, so Stampede. Stampede, it's a shit show in the locker room, as you can see. But boy, have we got some talented fuckers, though. We started off with like 20 people. So to double that in just a month was nice. We still have a terrible backstage area, as you can see. It's a 15 right now. Yeah, there's so much negativity going on here. A lot of talented fuckers, though. It's a thing, it's tough. There's just, a lot of it is just kind of what's going on with these notable other factors. Basically, the backstage incidents. So you see a lot of fights, a lot of arguing with fans. That's kind of the big thing. I know Gordon Grayston hates us. Bob Sweetan hates us. Or maybe not hate, but some tension. Billy Robinson does hate Darren Crockett, though. And we definitely want to keep Billy Robinson happy. Billy's been incredible, which is no surprise. We love some Billy Robinson, but he's been tremendous. So the international kind of tag team title scene right now, they've had one defense, the Christie brothers. They beat the Osborne brothers, which there's been a lot of injuries too in Stampede. That match was a 36, which that was pretty brutal. There's 3 injuries right now, which is kind of wild to think. We sent Ray Osborne on vacation after I think he was injured, but he could still work, and I was just like, fuck it, let's just send you on vacation and try to save the locker room. It's pretty bad. We're barely making, we're making about 50,000. It's tough. It's been tough. Backstage area has just been a mess. There's over guys, but there's also guys that kind of don't fit the system what we want. Like I'm torn between having a technical kind of group of guys, but also having some guys they actually had at the time, and also just having some Canadian stars like Abdullah the Butcher. Obviously, Abdullah, when you think of technical wrestling, obviously not the first name to come to mind. He's kind of more fits the big time wrestling in Detroit, which I'm glad we brought him in for. He's really in Alberta. He's not really over he's over in British Columbia more so than anything, and not really having that. There's one of the Torres brothers. I don't even think we have his brother. Yeah, we don't even have. We need to probably do that. Bring in his brother. We'll go ahead and do that. Ramon Torres. So yeah, we'll go ahead. I'll just go ahead and do it here. Might as well. Yeah, that definitely helped us out a little bit. Another tag team too. Not really over, but helps us out. Oh no, he is 36, JK. So that's gonna be nice to have the Torres brothers. But as far as just there's a little bit of everything. We brought in a couple of veteran technical guys like Argentina Rocca, I'm trying to think as far as Luthez. Yeah, there's Luthez. Just kind of, from that perspective, those kind of technical guys from yesteryear. Gene Knitsky, another one that we brought in. which has been a fun idea. Eddie Sharkey, too, somebody I brought in, just because I always thought Eddie Sharkey was kind of more of a name, more in the kind of Midwest. Obviously, trained like the Road Warriors and Barry Darso. I think who else was a part of that group. I don't think Scott Norton trained with him, but that kind of Minnesota crew at the time. But the biggest signing has been Don Leo Johnson, who was really the first kind of big man of his era, and not really of his era, but of wrestling, period. As far as I think his first year in wrestling was 1949, which is really crazy to think about. A long time ago, but a big star here in Alberta. Worked Stampede kind of in the mid '60s, brought him back here. Already gave him a title. Already gave him his Canadian heavyweight title belt he won for a couple of, and held for a couple of years. He's just he's a big time star. Big time star. He gets great ratings. The guy he beat was Danny Lynch, which Danny Lynch kind of wasn't great. I mean, he's solid, but just kind of trying to phase out some of those guys. The Danny Lynches, the Dave Rules, who Dave Rule is a big name as far as in Alberta, but God, almost 50 years old. He's worked pretty much for 22 years, very much a mainstay, is an Alberta native himself, but just, it's way past his time. The ratings have been pretty bad. We've been trying to help him put over guys. The Luther Lindsay one was a pretty bad idea. I don't know why we have Angelo Mosca beat him, but at least Angelo Mosca at least outperformed him. It's been pretty brutal, because he's somebody that is not a great person backstage, so another thing, I don't know why I clicked on personal info, it'd probably be here, which, he's a squash master, he's a badass reputation. I mean, he's quite the shit kicker of his day, but he's almost 50 years old, but that's kind of the territories, though, that you saw your kind of high 40s, into the early 50s. Hell, fucking Stu still wrestling at 54. And Stu, obviously, technically, still great, but he should hang it up. He really should. We've been kind of having him put over guys, like the Fred Curry match, try to help him out, which Stu, even at 54, still getting like mid-40s, but there's potential with Stampede. Oh, Joe Blanchard, another guy we brought in. It's great technically. But yeah, as far as with just needing to get a kind of an identity with Stampede. Don Leo Jonathan's helped them out a lot with it, but a lot of guys that are, you have your brawlers and you have your technical guys, which is a great kind of mix, but there needs to be kind of a in between where you have to still at least be fucking talented enough to work with people. That's kind of been the big thing. The Lewin brothers are somebody we brought in, Don and Mark. Sweet Daddy Siki, another guy that we brought in, I think is going to do pretty well once we kind of get him acclimated. The Kiwis, as far as Luke Williams and Butch Miller, they've been great to have. Unfortunately, Wayne Coleman obviously becomes superstar Billy Graham. Not great. Does not really fit what we want to do. He's obviously an incredible entertainer. Doesn't really fit the Stampede mold as far as, but he was trained under Stu, and so there's that too. Yeah, I mean, once he becomes superstar, obviously you fucking catapult him into superstardom, but now he's still trying to figure it out. He's been working with just tag matches mostly. You see here, Billy Graham with 18 in his first match. I think the second match was a little bit better, got 19. So it's been a learning curve for superstar Billy Graham. That's been for sure. Trying to think who else to talk about. That's pretty much it. Just so many old guys on Stampede. That's kind of been the big thing with that, is we kind of need to get younger. Let's just look at who's 40. Yeah, like, well, a lot of people we brought in, so there is that, but a lot of guys we needed to bring into at the same time, but there's some that just has not been really working out too much. Carl Gotch, I don't think we talked about him when we talked about some of the technical guys we brought in. Johnny Rougeau, as well. So yeah, a lot of them we have brought in, so that's kind of all our fault. Gordon Grayston, yeah, he's a ref though, so that doesn't matter. George Scott, Gene Kaninsky, of course, but yeah, Ed Wayland as far as the announcer. But yeah, I mean Stampede, it's trying to find an identity, trying to at least keep the television show on broadcast. As far as that's kind of been a big thing. The biggest thing is just trying to get a good show. Our best show was our first show, was Billy Robinson, obviously having a matchup with Angelo Mosco, which was 74, definitely the best thing we've had so far. And Billy's great. Billy Robinson is awesome. Yeah, we even had him have a title match with the next on the Stampede TV. We probably need to just have it be the Billy Robinson show. Have it be just kind of every now and again, just change it up with Don Leo Jonathan as maybe a potential main event every now and again, but for the most part, it'd be Billy Robinson's show and have him take on all comers, and just have him just be a revolting door on who he faces. And I think that kind of makes the most sense from that perspective. So that's what's been going on with Stampede. We can go ahead and advance Stampede. So, with the JWA. So, they had 2 television tapings. However, I forget which brand it was. I believe it was Inoki's brand. So, I believe it was a Nippon. Oh, no, it was Baba's. Damn. So, Baba's flagship didn't have enough of a rating, I guess. Which is kind of crazy. Because you see here, 66, 62, 63, some great ratings. But not enough. Which is kind of shocking. That 62, 63 was not enough for them to be happy at Nippon TV. Or at Net TV, rather. Is that? Yeah, Net TV, I believe. Oh, no. As far as... it's in the mail somewhere. Oh, yeah. Yeah, it was Nippon TV. That did not like what we were doing, a poor quality of shows. Which is kind of crazy, because again, I don't know what the contract deal was, but I mean, that is super close. Net TV is a little unhappy with what we're doing with World of Pro Wrestling. So, right now, it's just one TV. I think that's for the best. I think, as far as the biggest thing has been trying to get some Japanese talent. But the one thing I did not mention, because I did not realize it, we're not the owner. We are because that's the CEO, Yoshin Nosata, as far as Yoshin Nosata, rather. Yoshin Nosato, rather, my god. So he is the owner. I forget who we actually are as the, it tells us, right? Yeah, we're Michiaki Yoshimura, who Michiaki Yoshimura, he's actually still a performer, so that's kind of weird that we did that, because he's one half of the All Asia Tag Team Champions. But for him, with his kind of big thing, it definitely has been the owner goals have been a little bit restrictive. So, for instance, we can't sign anybody that's a brawler. So, alright, cut that down. That sucks. Nobody that has 45 charisma or less, I could give or take that. We don't do promos, so that's not a big deal. The athletic ability, below 45, that really hasn't hurt us too much, but that's kind of been the big thing, has been the brawler style. Now, getting the financials up to about 2.2 million. So basically making another million here was it a year, right? Is it a year? Yeah, a year, 11 months. So basically 2 years. Maybe we can do that. Kind of the big thing is probably once we, as far as with Michiaki Yoshimura, once he retires, if he does, we'll probably, he'll be the, once he's not an active in-ring competitor, we'll take away the, we'll kind of leave and then come back and have it be the owner from here on out. Because really, it's just kind of torn. It's, with the untimely death of Ricky Dozan, like, everything was kind of just thrusted upon people. No one really assumed that was going to happen. And they're kind of scrambling. Obviously, once Baba and Inoki split, then that really, is everybody scrambling, and basically the death of the JWA. So that's going to be, again, an interesting thing. Like, do we try to keep JWA alive with Baba and Inoki, or do we do the split? It's kind of the big thing with this. It's weird. Inoki, we haven't really booked him a whole lot. As far as we did have the BI Cannon team, Inoki and Baba, he's been the better of the two, as far as he's been better than Baba. As far as with Baba's title, as far as the NWA International Heavyweight title, he's had the one defense. We had him beat Katsuji Adachi, which that was a 70, that matchup, which was pretty good, especially for a title match. Really, the big thing has been potentially what we're going to do again. As for the international tag team titles, it's him and Inoki. So they're the international tag team champions, and Inoki is one half of the All Asia tag team champions. So basically, they are dominating the belts besides Kentaro Oki as far as he's the All Asia heavyweight champion. Who he had his first successful defense, I believe that was against Dr. Wagner. Yes, it was, which that was 65. Not the greatest performances. They had their title defense against Skull Murphy and Brute Bernard, which that just happened recently. It was a 58, not really the greatest. But that's what's happening in Japan. Just trying to figure things out, really, for the most part. Yeah, we did bring in Fritz, which I don't think really haven't done a whole lot. Harley Race has been great. Obviously, I just, him and Baba had great chemistry. And I always felt like they had great chemistry. Freddie Blassie should not be working, and as far as he's been pretty bad, which is no surprise. It's crazy. Him and Mil Mascaras had a match at Hollywood Wrestling. Or no, they had it at they had it at Hollywood Wrestling. But yeah, him and Billy Robinson, terrible matchup as far as Freddie Blassie with a 45, not great. And a tag match with him and Fritz, 37-42. I guess it's not too terrible when you look at it from that perspective. He was the second best guy in the match, especially for being 51. But boy, hasn't been great. And I mean, they got Gene LaBelle, the Andersons, as far as Gene and Ole. They've been a bit of a pain in the ass on their excursion, just as far as backstage wise. That hasn't been great. The Von, as far as I forget, they're not the Von Steigers. Yeah, they are the Von Steigers. Carl and Kurt Von Steiger. They've been a nice little team. Of course, you saw Murphy and Bernard. Of course, the Minnesota Wrecking Crew, Inoki and Michiaki, and obviously the BI Cannon. That's just kind of what we've been doing. It's been the Inoki and Baba show, pretty much. That's it. Yes, well, it's with JWA. Trying to get some people over though. I know Danny Hodge brought him in because obviously he's NWA World Junior Heavyweight Champion. I feel like Japan kind of respects it a little bit more, and I feel like he can have good matches over there as the Junior Heavyweight Champion. He had his match with Paul Jones. That happened for the NWA World Junior Heavyweight title, and the rest of these. Actually, we booked the Saturday Night Wrestling with Killer Carl Cox. That was a big time. Oh no, we didn't do that. That was big time wrestling. Fritz's big time wrestling, EMLL and Championship Wrestling from Florida. So he's already defended the belt 4 times here in the save. A lot, and of course our match was the worst one. How about that? Yeah, that one, I don't know what happened there. I think it was a negative chemistry, I believe. Because Paul Jones was actually really good. He's a good promo. He's worked really well. Yeah, 50th State he's working, him and Baba. It's kind of been what he's been doing. So yeah, just kind of that's what's going on in Japan. As far as now for probably my favorite place to book right now has been Big Time Wrestling in San Francisco, aka San Francisco Wrestling. As far as with Roy Shire, the program has been Ray Stevens and Pat Patterson, and they've been fantastic. As far as some of the shows, they've been mid-50s, but you can see some of the big-time angles. 69 here for the build-up to the Ray Stevens-Pat Patterson title match. We started off with the 2 out of 3 Falls Tag Team title match of the NWA World Tag Team titles for the Big Time San Francisco, as Ray Stevens and High Chief Peter Maivia, they just defended the belts against the Gladiator and Pat Patterson. As far as the title matchup in the Ray Stevens promo, it's one of the best things we've done at 78. Bearcut Wright, we brought him in for Big Time Wrestling. He's been great. That was his debut promo of 60s. That showed you what he can do. The count-out win was interesting, because I think in real life it was a draw when they did it. I could be wrong. Stan the Man, as far as Stan Stasiak and Peter Maivia, as far as Maivia beats him and then he gets his win back. They have two TVs going on at the same time, so that's been kind of interesting to kind of try and navigate. What we should do is have them be the Von Steigers and have it be Brock Von Steiger to kind of make them an actual unit. We've been kind of thinking about that, but yeah, Bearcat Wright, wanting to be the guy that beats Pat Patterson. And yeah, they just had another tag team title matchup with Stan Stasiak and Pat Patterson. Again, you're kind of building up from this. With this, as far as another successful defense, 65, 62, 77, and 64. Ray Stevens has been incredible, which is no surprise. Ray Stevens is one of the best workers in the world at this time. So that's been great to really see. Pedro Morales has been great, which again, no surprise. We've been having him and Jose Lothario team up. So that was a good little co-main. But yeah, it's just kind of where we've been at. It's been nice to book. Yeah, I just, as far as kind of, it's a little bit of just, what we want as far as from a top program. Because we can do, as far as Stan and Patterson, and then Peter Maivia and Ray Stevens, but also Pedro Morales, Jose Lothario, and then from another heel perspective, with Bearcat Wright. We know who our top babyfaces, we know who our top heels are already, so that's been great. Rocky Montero, I believe, trying to think if it was Rocky Montero. Yeah, he has good chemistry with Pedro Morales, so that's been a nice kind of undercard match to book. Really, the big thing has been working with kind of what we have. We don't have a big roster, but we don't need a big roster, in my opinion. It's just kind of been, Rock Hunter as far as Carl Von Brock. We'll definitely want to probably change it. Do we have them as a stable? Yeah, we'll probably do that. But yeah, that's what's happening with the Pacific Coast Athletic Corporation, if you will, or Big Time Wrestling in San Francisco. Carl Gotch. I booked him in a lot of places because I just love Carl Gotch, but really at this point, at 45 years old, hasn't been that great. Him and Tom Andrews, he definitely got outperformed by Tom Andrews, so that wasn't a great call, but he's over enough. He's a name, so that's been nice to at least bring him in to help try to elevate some talent, potentially, as far as for him. But yeah, that's just kind of what's going on with San Francisco. We talked about the titles. There's only two, the tag team titles and the heavyweight title. The United States heavyweight title for Pat Patterson. And let's see, we'll advance here. So Jim Crockett. So many people, 44 people. The big kind of thing has been with the Eastern States heavyweight title has been doing a tournament. The tournament has been a bit of a shit show. I'm not gonna lie. It actually was so bad that it took us off the air from one of the broadcasters of Mid-Atlantic Championship Wrestling's television show, I believe. Yeah, I forget what, WRAL-TV. So, that's been great. Just terrible, as far as from our perspective. But, we've, I think with what we have kind of as our quarterfinals here, as, Tojo Yamamoto just got hurt, Johnny Heidemann and Skull Murphy and Brute Bernard and Les Wolf, kind of not some great names, honestly. The problem is the Eastern States heavyweight title, the weight limit's a light heavyweight, and I probably could change that, but I just want to go with what is kind of more apropos. It's a heavyweight title, so might as well make it, try to be a heavyweight title. The tag team titles, though, my God, that has been our bread and butter. George Becker and Johnny Weaver, they've been incredible. The match that they're going to have with Rip Hawk and Sweet Hansen is going to be great. We're going to have to be at the final show of the month. They've been tremendous. George Becker, even at him and Weaver, George Becker's 55 years old, and him and Johnny Weaver, the match against the Rugged Russians, 64-61. They're great. Great. And that match just sucked because, I think it was like a bad timing of a match more than anything. But yeah, the house shows have definitely been better than the TV. The TV's a little out of hand, also, Johnny Weaver. He's 34, so he's a little bit more in his prime. But like the trios match at the, as far as the Rip Hawk and Sweet Hands, you could see 63-64, Weaver and Becker in mid-50s. It's going to be a good little title match. It's going to be a good little program. And we're going to try and do Wahoo and Dory Funk Jr., I think, as this. Because we did bring in Wahoo. Yeah, there's Wahoo. As his popularity in the Mid-Atlantic, it's not as high as it becomes, so that's kind of a thing, too, that I'm kind of worried about. I just know it'd be better, again, to be in the Mid-South. Great Mephisto's been a great signing, though. As far as he was in Florida, I want to say. As far as job history. Yeah. He was in Championship Wrestling for Florida. We brought him in because we already had the Infernos, and we already have JC Dykes, so it just made sense. He's a good promo, talented guy. Paul Jones, his promos have been great. As far as Dusty, we just did a talent trade right there. It's kind of why we know what Dusty becomes here in Mid-Atlantic, so trying to kind of plant the seeds a little bit. As far as they have a mini division as well, as they got Lord Littlebrook. Trying to think who else they have. I thought they had some more. Could be wrong, but yeah, obviously Bob Caudle has been great as an interview guy, great stick man. He's kind of been the saving grace of the television shows for the most part. A highlight for Jim Crockett was we got to fire Grizzly Smith on like the first week. He fought somebody and it was immediately like, oh, we get a chance to fire him, let's do that. He is a piece of shit. But that's just kind of where we're at as far as with Jim Crockett. I have a lot of money, obviously, but they're still small. So it's just trying to get them up and running with that money they can do, and the sky's the limit. Obviously, we know what they become in world championship wrestling and whatnot, but they're already past it as far as with the Mid-Atlantic. We just need to get higher in Southeast or the tri-state area, which I would like to go for all three, to be honest. Stay on the East Coast potentially, but yeah, still, they get a ways to go with that. So then Jim Crockett. So now Western states. This has been the toughest for sure. There's talented people, but it's been hard to navigate because there's so much going on. As far as from a from a schedule perspective, from a television perspective, from just an all-around trying to find its identity again with Western State Sports. There's been some good stuff. It just hasn't been on a lot of the televisions. This was probably one of our best TV matches. Actually, it might be our best match so far. It was at 60. We have talented guys. It just hasn't been working out. Harley Race has been great. He's really, been a tremendous talent for us. Dickie Murdoch has been actually great. Rufus and Thunderbolt Patterson, especially Thunderbolt Patterson, has been a great addition. Trying to think who else. Terry has been great. We haven't really been able to book Dory, unfortunately. Dory Funk Jr. Dory Funk Sr.'s been still doing good, but yeah, just, because we haven't been able to book Dory, the show's been kind of stagnant a little bit. Because the one time we did, the Funk Brothers versus Rufus and Thunderbolt Patterson was a good match. Just Rufus kind of stunk it up, but, yeah, I believe we had to, because what was supposed to be the main event of this show ended up getting changed. This was a nightmare to deal with, and we had to do it here on the house show, the title match for the NWA title. Just a disaster. Steve, it's not Steve Stack, it's Steve Slack. I thought it was a T, but it's a L here, yeah, but Steve... Oh, no, it is Steve Stack, never mind. I was thinking there's going to be times you're going to see, I think you probably saw it, that it's Steve... Yeah, oh, no, where do we call him Steve Slack? I thought we did somewhere. No, he must not have. Must have just imagined it. Oh, well, but, yeah, this has been tough. It's been tough to get a good show out of this. I think it's because the company is rated small and not medium, so I have to kind of think from that perspective as well. But just looking at some of the availability, you can just see it. There's so many people. Hey, Dick Murdoch is working for Central States, and Dory's working everywhere. Dusty's working for Central States too. So's Killer Carl Cox. It's just been a nightmare. The house shows have been great, but like the television, goddamn, haven't been able to do anything for most of the television. But some of the house shows have been great, some of it not so much. It's been hectic. It's been hectic for sure. If we can get Western States kind of up and running, that'd be fantastic. It's just going to be tough. It's going to be real tough. We've actually, if I'm surprised we have made money. It doesn't seem like we have, but it looks like. Now we definitely have it, because it feels like it. Yeah, there's no way we would have. Yeah, I feel like we're definitely losing out on money on that from perspective, but because production's been pretty crazy. But yeah, it's been tough. Been tough as Western States sports. Not gonna lie. As far as the belts, yeah, Dickie Murdoch winning the Texas Brass Knuckles champion. I just felt like he was a kind of a perfect guy to kind of bring in a new, fresh face, somebody that can work a physical style into no DQ setting, which is kind of hilarious because I believe we had a match end in DQ. Oh no, we didn't. Let's say, but yeah, it's no disqualification. You're gonna get a straight up finish, which is nice. But yeah, I mean, he's just been tremendous so far. So the Beast, as far as he's been the Western States Heavyweight Champ for a couple of months now. He had 2 defenses already. He beat Bobby Duncan, and he beat, not once but twice, had the DQ match at the Western States Parade of Champions show, but then also on the television as the rematch, and that was kind of the clean finish there. He's, again, just trying to figure out kind of the identity. The idea is trying to get a lot of brawlers and a lot of guys that are going to be rough and tough. Hasn't really worked out too well. Ricky Romero and Terry Funk, as far as the tag champs. Harley Race and Gorgeous George Jr., that actually happened, is why we did that. But it's still a bad match. It's a bad idea. Ricky Romero is pretty solid, though. Him and Billy Spears had a pretty good match on the house show. He's been pretty solid. Him and Terry's a decent little team. He's been just trying to figure it out. Where to go from here and kind of what we're going to build with this roster, because it's still so everybody's super young. We just brought in Ox Baker. That's going to be great. Ox rules. He's exactly what we want. A brawler, a guy with a great look, a guy that's a pretty solid promo as well. He's got a good look to him. Perfect for kind of a brawler. That's what we want. Skandar Akbar has been great to bring in. Obviously, he's more of a world class guy, but still to bring him in, help elevate guys and help. Kind of the idea of having his Oro money come in and kind of take over Western States has been a fun idea. Trying to think who else. The Viking we just brought in as far as Ian, just like a berserker again, just a little less of a brawler because he can do technical stuff and do brawling stuff. The thing with Western States, I believe, as far as where's the product page at? There it is. I'm about to say, I believe, if I remember correctly, we should probably have small division. We should probably turn that to none, because, they don't have any women. Yeah, they have a hardcore and wild brawl, and they have a storytelling. So that's kind of been a good idea for the most part. What we've been trying to do, let's go ahead and put none on that. Because, we're not going to bring any women, probably. At least for now. That won't be what we're going to do, but yeah. We've been trying to get Dory to sign exclusively. I think we will. Oh, as your contract negotiation has ended, as it would avoid the agreement not to steal anybody worker from Championship Wrestling from Florida. Well, here's the thing. Championship Wrestling from Florida. As far as, let's get that up. We will not, oh, and a little hostile towards that. That's alright. That's alright. Had a feeling that was going to happen, but fuck them. Because we need Dory Funk Jr. to be exclusive. I was hoping with him being loyal, it was going to make it to where he was kind of be a little bit more favoritive to us. But, so, we probably should do exclusive handshake, right? So that's the plan. That was our plan, at least at the beginning, but he's like, nah, I don't want that. So, we're just going to give him exclusive fucking per month, 12K a month contract. Just is what it is. We could try maybe 10 even. Yeah, I figured that was gonna happen since we just gave him 12.6. Give him a lot more years. Actually, just give him 10 years. Oh my god, 15. Ooh, that's a lot. It's a lot, but I think we'll be able to manage with that. We'll still keep Terry. The idea that we want to do, once we get Dory to a full-time deal, is also send out him and Terry to places like Jim Crockett, places like Stampede even, kind of all over the world, maybe even Florida, to try to help regain that as far as development in Central States. Just kind of all the NWA places that we can, since he is obviously the NWA champion. So that is the Western States. And finally, Big Time Detroit, which has been, it's been fun. There's been some highlights. It's a little bit better than what Western States is doing. The big thing, obviously, is Sheik and Wild Bull Curry. Bull's been great. Sputnik Monroe's actually been pretty good. It's been fun to book Abdul Farouk as far as the Grand Wizard. He's, him and Sheik have been a great gimmick, and just having them, kind of run down the crowd to begin off house shows sometimes has been a fun program. The TV has been interesting. Boy, the NWA title matchup, having a DQ finish, which that is what they did, was DQ finishes even with the blood and guts. And when it's, for the NWA title, there would be disqualifications. Did not go over well with the crowd, so I was like, alright, we're not going to do that on the TV. So, this is probably one of our better shows in general. I'm surprised I only got a 52 with Johnny Valentine beating Chief White Owl and the Sheik and Wild Bull against Stomper and I believe Ben Justice. I was thinking Bill, but not Ben. Haystack Skyloon has been pretty bad, which is no surprise. Actually, as I say that, I got a 55 against Sputnik. But yeah, as far as Wild Bull and Fred Curry, as far as the Fabulous Kangaroos being in Big Time Wrestling, Detroit has been very fun because they're just so out of left field. So that's been interesting. But yeah, mainly it's just been Sheik tag matches with Bull Curry and whatnot. It's been interesting. It's been interesting because Sheik is, we obviously did the Sheik Bobo match as well, which is a count out finish. That's a little bit better than the DQ finish. So we'll probably do that more often than not, than DQs. Abby, of course, fits right in to what we're doing. He did great with a 65 in his match. Because with Big Time Wrestling in Detroit, it's very much you need hardcore, wild brawls. Yeah, they don't want cheap finishes. It's fucking blood and guts. We also want to take that off as far as... There we go. Oh, let's go back to the product. So, the big thing with them has been with the hardcore style. You're going to get your wild brawls. I don't do car crashes because that's not really much of the time. It's, mayhem. So we'll do a hardcore, a wild brawl, a mayhem, and a steal a shout. With that's been, nice to see. Yeah, I mean, it's just been, the idea is much like the Western States sports. A little bit more on the violent side, though, with this, with some of our guys. A lot more, actually looking at the hardcore ratings and being like, yeah, that's what we need. Sheik and Abby. Either have them work together, or have them work against each other, since they're heels, probably work together. That's an idea. And then I want to get Bobo and a potential other babyface in here. That, as far as... And also Bull Curry is great at hardcore stuff. Bull Curry's awesome. Even at 56 years old, he still is the man. There's a lot of talent still here. There's a lot of old talent, but a lot of talent nonetheless. I mean, Abby's kind of one of the younger stars that we have, and he's 33. That's just Stomper, as well, as far as Stomper, and Sputnik, obviously, up there, but he's a guy that's been around the world. Great brawler. He's a good promo guy as well. Just your rugged, rough, Johnny Valentine's been great. There's been a lot of actually talented people that we have. We brought in Gypsy Joe. Yeah, I don't think we've really booked him yet. think we booked him one match. He lost to the Stomper and he lost to Chief White Owl. But once he gets over, he's going to fit right in. He's going to fit like a glove. But yeah, that just stands for Fred Curry actually does not really fit with us, which is kind of funny enough. He's more of a technical guy, an aerial guy. But, with him and, he's going to work on more probably Stampede in the future. Which actually even him and Stampede hasn't been a great start. He's getting there though. He's not really over enough. But yeah, that's just where we're at. Angelo Poffo. It's just awesome to see Randy and Lanny's dad just out there working his fucking ass off at 44 years old. But yeah, that just kind of... Yeah, there's one half of the Kangaroos with Man Mountain Cannon. Even, at 50 years old, he's still incredible talent. I think that's it. Man, this has been, it's an interesting kind of way of going about this series, but I think it's the best way to go about it. As this kind of recapping form, and not to forget, too, next month, you'll see a new newsletter, you'll see a new cover, you'll see, I definitely want to showcase some articles as well. Try to show off, more of that. Which that's going to be fun to try and recreate. And also a new ranking as well. So, I already know Rufus is going to get bumped down since he lost. Once the Wahoo match happens, we'll see how that plays out. And then, as far as Dick the Bruiser, since is the WWA a part of, or the WAA, rather? I don't think they're a part of. Let's see, are they? Oh, no, I don't see them. So, yeah, I don't think they're under the NWA banner. Oh, we actually didn't look at the Alliance. Yeah, they're not. So, we'll probably change that. Since, obviously, I was just a bad idea on my part. Bad idea there. Yeah, it's crazy. Crazy how much talent, obviously, in the NWA that we have. We can loan everybody. The title scene. Dory Funk Jr., obviously, with his 4 defenses, like we talked about. And 4 defenses for Danny Hodge. It's been a busy January, and it's just getting, a lot of the end of the month shows are happening, or they're up and coming. That's going to be tough. It's going to be tough to really work through. But yeah, that is where we're at for episode 2. Thank you all for watching. So the next video, what we're going to do is basically that first February, we'll stop. We'll run through kind of the new newsletter, the monthly newsletter, the rankings and whatnot, and then we'll, run the shows, but you guys won't see it. Run the shows. Then, once it's basically this, last week of January, or last week of February, for that, we'll go through what happened within those, 4 weeks. So that's going to be fun to see. It's a different type of formula. Again, this has been when I started this last month. Again, I just wanted to do it because it's something I always wanted to do. Did not expect to get so many people that are really jam-packed for this. That's been really cool to see. Don't want to disappoint. Don't want to, as far as people that are excited about this, don't want to run them off. That definitely would suck. Want to keep this as fun and exciting and informative as possible as well. But yeah, that will do it. As far as we're not going to change any companies yet. Obviously, it's still super early in the save, but wouldn't be surprised by the end of the year we might switch out a company or two. I want to keep it fresh, so that's kind of been the idea behind that so far. But yeah, that will do it. Thank you all, and we'll catch you guys next month for episode 3 for how February of 1970 will look like here in the territory save. Take care, everyone.